Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Tennis Channel Inside In on the Tennis Podcast Network. Mitch Michals here, and we got a great show for you this week. Our guest got to a career high number 9 in the world in 2018, made 2 major semifinals in 2017, and has 2 career singles titles, 4 doubles titles, including the U.S. Open with Ashleigh Barty. Competed in the Olympics, won the Fed Cup in 2017, and comes from athletic royalty. Welcome to the show, CoCo Vandeweghe.
Thanks for having me.
Really excited to get the chance to talk with you, CoCo. It's been quite a journey. I think you'd even put it mildly there. The first
for
question,
you or for me?
Well, literally right now, because we're on a journey together here. But how's the return to tennis been? I know it's with all the injuries that you've had and the process of trying to find a rhythm, given your return to the courts, but also the current state of the pandemic and just trying to find that rhythm, getting back onto the courts.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with the rhythm. It hasn't been easy to find rhythm with this new world that we're in. I had to have some trial and errors of how to manage the pandemic and being in the bubbles and what to bring, what not to bring, what actually is important. And I think that's what the pandemic has done for a lot of people, is just put things into perspective of what's important and what's not. My injuries are their own thing. I mean, it has given me a new lease on tennis life, with the injuries and time away and experiencing different things. And so I'm not thankful, but I'm also thankful at the same time for giving myself the opportunity to kind of just enjoy an injury as much as I could, I guess, as to keep my mind light about it. Because if you get too bogged down about being injured and the progress in rehab and that sort of mindset, it just becomes super difficult to deal with day in and day out.
It sounds like you have a different approach to kind of appreciating the journey, not getting too high or too low based on certain results and understanding that there's going to be setbacks along the way.
Yeah. I mean, I've said this in a few other interviews. When I was top 10 in the world and winning all these matches and accomplishing all these goals that I had set for myself, with Fed Cup, making the Olympic team and semis of Grand Slams and all that jazz, I was probably the most miserable I've ever been. I couldn't have disliked the game of tennis and who was around me, what I was doing, who I was in general. And I probably wouldn't have continued to play much longer. I didn't really want to play much in 2018. And I was very fortunate that, I took a little break after Miami. I went to the Bahamas and just kind of chilled. I escaped tennis and I was just getting pushed too hard. I was getting pulled in too many different directions. And I felt like there was nobody there to kind of pull me out of the, I guess, depressed state I was in. I felt very alone in that way. And there was plenty of people that tried. I mean, there's people asking me that, are you okay? All that stuff. And, it's before you even realize it, I was saying, yeah, I'm totally fine. I mean, why wouldn't I be? I'm on top of the world right now. This is the best I've ever played. And in reality, I couldn't have been more further from the truth. So that getting injured towards the end of 2018, actually at Wimbledon, so it's not too far off, kind of just, I wanted to stop after that. I wanted to take a protective ranking and say, no more, I'm not going to play. And unfortunately, with the WTA rules that were put in place at the top 10, had to follow, it would have financially really hurt me to take that break that I needed. And so I kept playing and with some wrong advice that I took to keep playing. And I ended up making things worse. And that ended up crippling me for almost 2 years. So it's kind of a give and take. But if I didn't have almost those 2 years off, I probably wouldn't be playing, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, you bring up a good point. If you look at tennis history, a lot of players retire early, citing that same burnout. And the ones that have extended careers, and now the situation with the money being as good as it is one thing, but they tend to take breaks and need to refresh. And it had to be a tough position for you, a tough decision to make given what you were going through, but also, like you said, at the height of your tennis powers, so to speak, getting into the top 10 had to be one of the most difficult decisions to make at that point too.
Yeah, it's a combination of all that. I I was fortunate enough during World Team Tennis this last season. I was sitting at the table with Kim Kleisters, and Luke Jensen asked, CoCo, how was it like, about being on, all those things. And, he was so proud of what I've accomplished. Don't get me wrong. I'm super proud of what I've accomplished, but I expressed the same thing. I was like, I couldn't have been more miserable. And Kim reiterated the same thing. And that was why she had to retire the first time. She retired. And it's actually quite interesting to hear it from somebody else, because when I was first kind of going through this, I'd never heard of this is why somebody decided to stop playing or take a break. So it was very, it almost made me feel more alone. Like, I've never heard anyone do this, so I can't do it. These people that have been there and played, and they all say keep playing, so maybe I should keep playing. That'll make me feel better. And it just didn't.
Yeah, Kim Kleisters is a great example. So, I mean, another thing to look at, she took time off and won a couple of Grand Slams. So maybe
that's in my horizon.
You brought up World Team Tennis. I mean, I think it's no stranger. You love playing there. You love team competitions. I don't think you can really say that about a lot of tennis players. You love playing on the Fed Cup. The results speak there. And World Team Tennis, you're in it to win it, not just in it for the appearance. What is it about that format that you love so much?
Well, I grew up playing team sports. So tennis was the last sport I ever played. I grew up playing basketball. I grew up playing soccer, volleyball. I mean, any sport I could play, I was playing it, because if I wasn't outside playing a sport, I had to do homework. So I didn't want to do that.
Obviously.
And so I really relish the moments of having camaraderie and having people, care about the same things that you care about, which in Fed Cup, all the girls that I've played with care so much about representing their country. And that's kind of what I care about. That's how I was raised. My mom was a 2-time Olympian. So playing for your country is the biggest honor you could ever have. So that's why I've, taken time from my schedule and as packed as the schedule is in tennis, it's not easy to do, and play for my country for pretty much 2 years straight. Every single time I was asked, I said yes, regardless if I was tired, hurt, not wanting to get on a plane and go to Australia in the middle of the year. It's just, it's something that's important and should be valued.
Yeah, 2017, it wasn't exactly an R&R trip going to Belarus just in December or whatever.
Belarus is actually a pretty cool city. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
I mean, we got definitely red carpet treatment, but it was pretty cool. I would definitely recommend, if you want to go to like some old Soviet country, Belarus is pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty okay. I'll keep that in mind.
put it on the list.
From the outside, it looks this way, and I wanted your opinion on this, that your group of USA girls that were coming up, you guys seem really closer than other generations. Just that the fact that it's Madison Keys, Shelby Rogers, some of your friends up, and I think some of the girls that came after you, there seems to be a camaraderie factor that I don't think you always see with some of the other players from different countries that are in the same era. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely when I first started playing, it didn't feel like that when I got onto the tour, like who was on tour and who was playing. I definitely didn't feel welcomed. I definitely felt fish out of water. So when I got into top 100 and the newer girls were coming in, and I made it a point to be like, it's nice for someone to tell you like, hey, the restaurant's that way, you're going the wrong way, just something stupid like that, or help someone out with a practice court because I can get a prime time or a good court or whatever it may be. So that's definitely something I look to do. But I think, Shelby and I, especially, we've become super close. Bethany as well. It's honestly from the Fed Cup trips, a lot of it. Like Bethany and I weren't as close until Fed Cup started happening. Shelby and I have always been close because we kind of went through the Challenger Tour together. We went through these weirdo places. And we have funny stories that we can relate to. So it's really interesting.
And that's a good point. You kind of just went through the minors together and had those awkward experiences together. And maybe some of the players that have the red carpet rolled out to them and have more hype coming in, they don't get to feel that camaraderie. No, it's a very interesting thing to kind of balance. And I know you mentioned not feeling, like you love tennis when you were achieving all those highs. Was that the flip side of that 2014, maybe when you actually broke through and proved that you belong? Was there some validation there that you realized, okay, I'm in the top 100. I can compete with the best players. Was that more validation for you?
It was definitely validated. I felt like I had earned it. I'd fallen out of the top 100 once before and kind of clawed my way back. I was taking accountability of just being a professional. I think being a professional is in a game in itself, and you got to learn what works for you. And people can tell you this is how you be a professional and you should do it this way, but it's actually when you take accountability for yourself of showing up and putting in the work for practice for a certain amount of hours and going to the gym. And you know what, the feeling that I had most importantly was I put all these people around me. So this is on me to actually accomplish this, accomplish a win, accomplish top 100, win my first title, all those things. And I earned everything because I put everything together. I had put the hard work in and had learned how to be a professional.
Do you think other tennis players kind of think like you? I mean, have
No.
this yeah, okay.
No chance.
I wasn't gonna.
I mean,
that would have been my guess, but I wanted to hear you say it.
With the royalty that you were naming off, I mean, I've had so many people around and have had genius minds to pick as far as like it goes from people that have accomplished great things and I'm so spoiled in that way. And it almost was like a detriment because I had so many voices I could ask. I mean, just not only within my own family, but the friends of my family that would show up for dinner and stuff like that. The amount of times Bill Walton just like cruised into my house was like every week. Yeah. So, I mean, it sounds like super crazy to say like that's normal, but it was normal. It was normal to hear, Bill Walton talk about John Wooden, and my grandfather compare stories because, he was always around and all that stuff. And it's definitely put a different perspective, but I also had to learn on my own. And that took me a lot longer than I thought it would, honestly. I think everyone can say it like, oh yeah, at 18, I thought I was mature and knew everything, but turned out I really didn't.
Nobody does. CoCo Vandeweghe here on Tennis Channel Inside In. Is there, I mean, that's just a good follow-up I have. Is there like a pecking order? Does the Vandeweghe family have like an athletic ranking? Like, do you think you're the best athlete in the family?
No, it all goes by depends who you ask. I think that's if you ask me, I'm going to say I'm number one. If you ask my mom, she's going to probably say she's number one. So it all depends who you ask.
I feel like confidence has been a key for all of you. And, on the court, you're not afraid to be confrontational. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a unique thing to tennis. And, you hit on it that it comes from playing other sports and being, brought up around other hyper competitive athletes. Do you find that that's also a unique trait that tennis players aren't necessarily as confrontational and willing to be assertive as you are?
Yeah, I was raised to kind of be that way of speak your mind, speak your truth, and go after what you want. And everyone goes about it a different way. And I've been, on the wrong side of the coin of that and looked pretty dumb. And I've been on the right side of the coin, and I'm open to trying new things. I mean, ESPN approached me and said, do you want to do an interview in between sets at the US Open? I was like, shoot, sport needs to move forward. Of course. Yeah. If I have to be a guinea pig, then it doesn't bother me. And they gave me complete freedom to be like, you can wave us off at any point and say, no, I don't feel like doing this anymore. But luckily I had a set under my belt. So I was feeling good about myself. And people called me crazy for doing it, but it's important to be able to kind of toe the line and maybe you step wrong, maybe you step right. I mean, it's how you learn, and it's how you develop as a person, I think. And I get chippy, and because tennis isn't a contact sport, so I have to get chippy in a different way. I was definitely I was named an all-star defender for a reason. I mean, I have to show my might in one way or another.
Yeah, I think there's consistency there. You're chippy, as you put it, whether it's a small tournament or whether I'm just thinking off the top of my head here, you're playing Wimbledon against someone like Maria Sharapova and you're just consistent. Like this is a fight
Yeah,
and
I
you're trying
mean,
to win.
that match especially, I mean, being an unknown player compared to Maria, and I felt like she was being shady. I felt like she was moving and trying to be distracted and use gamesmanship. And you see it with a lot of other people when they complain about someone taking too much time or having too much leeway just because they're a name. And I was like, I'm not about to have this. Is my time. Like I'm feeling good if I'm not having this little moment distract me here. So I'm going to make everyone aware that this is what's happening. So that's all I was trying to do.
Do you feel like you're having to toe the line at times with your emotions? Because we've seen it work both ways, not just for you, for other players, when it can be such a powerful thing and cause you to take control of a match. Or on the flip side, there's that self-destruction side. Do you feel like you're having to balance that in the middle of a match?
Yeah, every day. And it goes, I mean, when you're winning, it's easier to manage your emotions more so than when you're losing, and to channel them into the right way, into the right avenue. I love to get the crowd involved. You see it a lot in world team tennis, getting them to cheer or Fed Cup, but, put the pressure, because that's what you see in other sports. I mean, someone feeling like, when they threw a big dunk down on somebody, the home crowd is making you hear it. And that's what I like to hear, because it makes my opponent feel the pressure. It makes me feel more relaxed, and it's enjoyable, I think, for me as a player, at least.
What was the 2018 US Open doubles run? You got to play with Ashleigh Barty before pretty much everybody else knew just how special she was. You probably were on the ground floor for that. I'm just trying to figure out if anybody in the world has anything bad to say about her. So I don't think it's going to be you, but
Well, I mean, I could pick something. I could say
yeah.
she's the first one that tapped out on our celebration party. So that's my bad thing about her. But other than that, I mean, she's a great girl. When we first started playing at the time, I was a higher ranked player, and we only played like 7 tournaments together. We didn't play all that much because either she was sick or I was injured. So we never really got to play, but we still made year-end championships, won a Grand Slam. But I teased her that I gave, when she was won the French, I teased her that I gave her a start because, you got to learn how to win a Grand Slam. So, it was me that helped her get that Grand Slam, that first one under her belt. So don't forget the little people.
You pushed her on her way. You gave her that nudge she needed. And yeah, I mean, history should thank you, Australia especially.
I hope they hear the sarcasm in your voice.
We'll see. I think that, anytime there's a player, CoCo, that has to deal with an injury and, has to decide whether or not they're invested in coming back, it's not an easy process. Fans might just think, oh, they're injured, they'll come back. Did you wrestle with that decision and think about when not just the ankle injury, but you had the nervous system issue? Did you think about seriously walking away?
I didn't think I was going to walk again. It was that serious. I mean, with CRPS, which is the nerve sensitivity issue that I had and will always have for the rest of my life. Some people it never goes away. And at some point, after 2 months of being in immense pain, you feel like that's never going to end. And, relearning how to walk, relearning how to jog and run, and then relearning how to play tennis and cut and move. I mean, there was definitely that thought of, can I ever do this again? And that was a more of an ego check for me when I actually started to play. When I was injured, I was top 10 in the world. And I thought I'd done all these things like you have mentioned. And I thought I had deserved the help at that point from, whether it be wild cards or just, some sort of, I don't know. I felt like I needed freebies. Like I had
Like
earned
you were owed
it.
something.
Yeah. And it was my ego just kind of being like, I can't believe I've done so many things for all these people, winning the Fed Cup for the USTA, and I can't get a wild card here. Are you kidding? Like those ideas were going through my head, or, WTA, being around them and not getting treated like I was top 10 again. I was like, what is happening? And it was so egotistical that it kind of drove me to be like, this isn't fun. Like, people were treating me way different when I was top 10. And now I'm like bottom of the barrel. This kind of sucks. And then I was taking some losses and getting more and more bummed out when, like Indian Wells didn't snag a wild card there. I tried to earn it and I lost one match short. And I was like, well, maybe I'll sneak a wild card. And then I didn't get it. And I was like, you mean I got to go play qualies of Indian Wells? I was like, I've made like inroads here. And then I was now thinking back on it. I was like, geez, you needed to really check yourself. Like, qualies ain't so bad. You got to earn your way back. And it was kind of eye-opening. I mean, after Indian Wells, that was the pandemic hitting. So the pandemic allowed me to kind of just open my eyes to just like, you're not the same person you once were, or tennis player, I guess. And you got to earn your stripes again.
So is it safe to say that this recent run in Birmingham where you go through the gauntlet, get to a semi, not the US Open, not the Australian Open, but it kind of seems like it meant more to you to just have to earn it and get to that point and actually enjoy playing tennis again and see some results?
Yeah. I mean, it's been a while since I had to play qualies. There's little things that people don't see that, you have to do to get through qualifying, and kind of, just even something so silly as like, oh yeah, I got to sign in on Friday before 5 p.m. Like, I forgot I have to do this. And it was so satisfying to be able to do it because I hadn't put a lot of matches back to back. I'd had some spurts and some kicks here and there. And I was happy to the players I had beaten, and the fashion that I was doing it in felt so good that it was definitely really validating for kind of like all the bumps in the road that I had hit.
CoCo Vandeweghe on Tennis Channel Inside In. A couple more things before we wrap this up. I think your new lease on tennis seems like you're rejuvenated, and it's hard to predict what's on the horizon given the current climate that we are, but just getting the chance to get back onto the court and put together some results has to be pushing you towards, your goals and whatever they may be. I know you have that mythical birthday coming up, but there's still a lot of tennis left, it sounds like.
Yeah. I mean, you see it in all these players. Everyone's playing until an older age. And you know what? I have almost 3 years of life that I didn't play. So I got time. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. When I fall out of love with tennis again, I'll let you know, and you'll see me wave goodbye. I told a few of my friends, I told Shelby and Bethany and stuff like that. I was like, when I finally do retire, I want all these like refs and WTA people and all these people that I've harassed and like complained to and like given a hard time. I want to do like a roast, like on Comedy Central, like a roast. And I want them to absolutely roast me. Players, anyone can join. Oh. Like, that's what I want for a retirement party. And I think that's super fitting. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think that would be a refreshing one. I don't think anyone would see that coming if you just said, all right, now everybody, you play your last match, you lose or you win a title. And it's like, all right, now everybody's coming out to roast her. I think that'd be.
Yeah, just do it. I would love it. It's so well deserved.
Did you, getting back to play, I know it's something that everybody's dealing with, but fans coming back, that was another thing that was taken for granted. So I think going forward, playing in front of the fans, you as somebody that embraces the crowd, that has to be at the top of your list on what you're missing and what you can't wait to experience again.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It was so hard playing with no fans. It was like a glorified practice match. And I definitely think sport is for fans, and I love playing in front of them. And I hope they never go away again, because that was really miserable for me.
CoCo Vandeweghe, pleasure chatting with you, taking time to come on Tennis Channel Inside In. Best of luck on the comeback going forward, and proving that you can also multitask too, as we're seeing on the video. But no, best of luck, and it's great to know that there's somebody that thinks a little differently on the sport, and has that flair and has that passion for the fans as well.
No, thank you very much. I appreciate it.